Boom! Hey guys, this is Andrew and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, we are going to be working today on the R32 and we have all the parts needed and all the tools needed to finally get the brakes done and everything finished so we can get this car back on the road. So, let's get in here. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is your first time here, go down below, hit that subscribe button. If you guys like the content, as always, smash that like button. Helps out with the YouTube algorithms and I'd really appreciate it. So let's show you guys what we have today. I've been kind of buying a lot of stuff again, trying to get everything in here, and I messed up on the front passenger side hub and bearing. So I'm gonna explain to you guys how I messed up there, and we're also going to go through everything we have down here for the R32. So let's jump into this, guys. Okay guys, so we are now finally over on the passenger side of the R32. I'm gonna show you guys what I actually messed up on, and it was a pretty expensive mess up on my part, probably about $300 worth of messing up. But you can see down here, everything is out. So the hub's out, the bearing's out, and just basically also the axle's out here. Just everything you need to get everything started on replacing everything over here. Well, what I did was I got this all out and I was working on the car for about 8 hours and I was very exhausted and I decided, okay, push the bearing in, got the right lucky bearing in, so that worked out well. Then I went ahead and I tried pushing in the hub. When I went to grab a hub, I grabbed the rear hub instead of the front hub, and they are pretty different. So I pressed in the hub, and once I went to go put the axle back in, I realized that the axle wasn't fitting correctly, and also when I went to then move the hub, I felt that it was actually had a lot of play in it, and for that reason I knew I messed up, but I still wasn't sure exactly what I messed up doing. And when I went over to the driver's side, which I already finished, I realized I put the rear hub on the front of the R32. So just to kind of show you guys quickly, this is what the actual front hub is supposed to look like. It has kind of like that second inner ring on the hub, and that I wasn't paying attention to, and I grabbed, this is the rear hub, which doesn't have that inner ring on it, just has that outer ring. So, as you can see, I messed up on that part of this. So, I'm now gonna go ahead and finish up the actual passenger side front here, because I already showed you guys how to do the whole front on the driver's side. This is probably gonna take me, hoping only like an hour to finish it. Shouldn't take that long. It's just gonna be a real pain pressing everything in, but once everything's in here, we're gonna move on to the next part, and I'm gonna then show you guys what some tools we got for the R32 and some of the new, I guess, fun stuff we got to make the job a lot easier for the rear. So I'll be back with you guys. Okay guys, we are finally back now. We have finally finished up the passenger side front. I'm gonna show you guys just how it kind of looks. It looks very similar to the other front, but just kind of just to prove it, and at least everything is in now. You can see down here, there we go. We have the calipers are in, we have the new pads, we have the rotors on, the new steel braided lines are here. Everything is basically in and hooked up, and it's looking really good. So I'm happy, at least the front's turned out really well. Now the next hard part is going to be the rear of the car. So let's get over here. I'm gonna show you guys what we have we bought for the rear of the car and what we're gonna be doing here. So if you guys remember back to my video where I talk about installing the rear control arms for the R32, one of my friends stripped out one of the bolts in the rear. So what I had to do was I went to basically a salvage yard, and I got in here this box, huge box. There we go. So that is a new trailing arm. When I say new, it's a used trailing arm, really solid deal. So the trailing arm came from Volks Auto Dismantlers down in Philadelphia. Highly recommend them. Send any kind of information you guys need for an R32 or any kind of used parts you can get from them. They're very good, really reasonably priced. I got this whole trailing arm section for $75, and then I think it was $20 to ship it. So definitely a solid deal to get that whole rear replaced. And we're gonna be refinishing this, repainting it, putting new bushings in this, and then we're gonna be putting it on the car again with the new hubs and bearings and everything. So we're getting a full rear done on this car. Like, this car is gonna be basically brand new when the rear is done. But just some other things that I got, just so you guys can see. Down here, we also got, in this big box right here, we have a 20-ton press from Harbor Freight. This is the other bottle jack that it goes with that 20-ton press. We also got, in here is a slide hammer. So we got the slide hammer from ECSTuning. That will be able to help us actually remove the hubs a lot easier than how we were doing on the front of the R32. We also got, in here, some goodies from ECSTuning. Of course, you always get the stickers from them. And let's see here. What else we got in here? So I don't know about you guys, but we always get these like wine vouchers. Does anyone actually use these from ECSTuning? Let me know if you guys actually use any of these vouchers. But besides that, we have, what do we get here again? Some tie rod ends. So I remember in my last video, I said the tie rod ends, the bushings, or not the bushings, the, what is it? They were wearing out basically, and I needed to replace them. So I got new tie rod ends. These are gonna be going on the R32 when I get the alignment done. So also the front is basically getting all done too. And the last thing I did, I also went to Home Depot, or I ordered from Home Depot some more tools. I basically got a new drill and also a grinder. So if we run into any snags in the rear, we can get that all kind of finished off. And for the rear, we're gonna repaint the trailing arm. So I went to just AutoZone and got some cans of black spray paint. There we go. Can't talk right now. But yeah, so we have that, and we're going to be getting into this. So right now, let's jump into it, and let's set up that 20-ton press, because I'm pretty pumped to get that thing set up. Let's jump into it. Okay guys, and we are back. The best thing, we have now this press all together. A nice, beautiful 20-ton press from Harbor Freight, and this should definitely do it. Basically, I'm hoping it will do it, at least pushing out all the bushings we need to do for the R32. So let me show you what we actually bought from, here we go. You guys can see right here, Voke Auto Dismantlement right here. This place came in clutch. I'll say also for my old R32, they came in clutch when I needed rear suspension and front suspension for my old car when I was selling it. And these guys came in real clutch, getting me suspension really cheap. And that was actually pretty good suspension too to put into my old R32. But as you guys can see, right over here, we have now a new quote unquote trailing arm, which this is definitely in really, I would say, pretty rough shape. We're not gonna obviously keep the hubs. We're not gonna keep the wheel bearings in here. We're pressing all this out. We're taking off everything on this, and we are then going to refinish this and then put it in the R32. And that's basically going to hopefully finish up the rear for the car. Gotta see how it goes overall. Hopefully everything goes smooth, but we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead. For tonight, at least, I want to go ahead and start taking all this apart, stripping it all down, getting all the rust off of it, and then at that point, start finishing everything. So let's jump into this. Okay guys, I want to give you guys a little quick update on the refinishing here of the rear trailing arm. So if you guys can see over here, right now you have the trailing arm over here, and the biggest thing I'm having an issue with is, if you guys look right in here, it's going to be the snap rings. So the snap rings are actually rusted inside of the actual whole assembly, and trying to get those out and trying to even get them to budge is freaking literally impossible. So I'm actually going in there with a lot of WD-40 and basically a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and trying to go around the outside of it and pry it up. Something similar to like just going in here, and I'm able to actually get the clip to now to start slowly moving by doing this. And basically what I'm going to do is go all the way around the whole thing doing this. Hopefully that will loosen the whole entire snap ring, and then I can actually use the these snap ring pliers here and actually get that snap ring out. And once that snap ring's out, the bearing will come out, and then I can finally start refinishing this part. So that was a quick update for you guys. Let's get back into it. Okay guys, we are back and it is the next day. We have some progress that we've done on these rear trailing arms. I'll show you guys kind of what we have done so far. I think these are going to work. It's going to be a real pain. It's going to take a while to do, but here we go. This is what we got. As you guys can see, I've actually gone through and basically stripped off all of the rust on this trailing arm so far. I've also been able to so far push out one of the bearings or bushings in the rear, and this bushing was a pain to get out. I also got out that snap ring in here that was super rusted in here, so that was good. That's out, and also the bearing that was in here is out. The last part we need to do is really push out this rear bushing down here, and then this bushing here, which this thing is going to be a pain to get out. To actually even get this off from the actual housing that's attached onto the car, oh man, I had to cut it off. So this is definitely no good anymore. That's going in the junk pile, and I'm hoping that I can reuse the one that is currently on the R32, and with new hardware that I'm actually getting from ECSTuning, put that all together and get that into the car. Also, new bushings are coming from ECSTuning, so that should be a good thing too. There's actually no videos yet on YouTube of doing bushings on the rear, or yeah, just on the rear basically for the R32. So I'm going to kind of take you guys along on this process so you guys can see how I'm doing the bushings in the rear. Not saying that this is the right way to do it, but it's working, so should be interesting. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to throw you guys on a time lapse, and let's get to the press, and I'm going to try to press out these other bushings. So let's do this. Guys, we got it out. I feel so good right now. If we look over here, bam, we have the actual trailing arm bushing right here out. This was what I was giving the most issues obviously with, but this bushing is finally freaking out. And also the control arm bushings, top and bottom, both are pressed out. Oh man, I needed that so bad to come out, because now basically I can refinish this whole entire trailing arm, make it look brand new, get the new bushings pushed into it, get a new ABS sensor, and then we're going to stick it back in the R32 and replace that bolt that's stripped. This is all being replaced because of one bolt being stripped, but I think it's going to be worth it. It's going to look really nice when it's done, and it'll be worth it. So if you guys need to get bushings out on, say, your rear trailing arms, or even say the front control arms, buy one of these Harbor Freight presses. It was kind of a little sketchy because I've never used one before and just trying to figure out where to press everything, but once I figured it out, they actually came out no problem, and it was super easy. So definitely buy one of these 20-ton presses from Harbor Freight. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into here. I'm gonna finish cleaning up all of these like inner bores here for the bushings, both sides here. You can see this one's actually pretty rusty right here, so that's definitely gonna have to be cleaned up pretty well. But we're gonna get that all finished up, and then I'm gonna hit all this with some nice fresh paint, kind of seal it all up. And once the new bushings come in, they should be here sometime this coming week. I will get everything placed back in here and I'll bring you guys through that. So let's go ahead and get this all cleaned up. Okay guys, so we have finally finished cleaning up these rear trailing arms. So you can just see now kind of how they are going to look. If you go into here, you can see that we've cleaned up kind of this opening here for the bushing. Just kind of got rid of all the rust that was in here as much as we could without trying to really score too much of that inside. And then these we basically just left how they were. They were really good on the inside already for at least these bushings. So that's good. And right now I like how this is looking overall. We are gonna have to now bring this outside and paint all of this. Before we do that though, I wanna go ahead and go to the passenger side of the R32 and I want to remove the same exact piece out of my current car. Now, the reason why I'm removing that one is because I don't need to replace exactly that one in the car, but I figured since we are doing the bushings on this side, we should also do the bushings on the passenger side also. So we're gonna remove that passenger side piece and we're gonna also strip it down similar to how this looks, take out all the bushings, and then we are going to go paint that also. So let's go jump over to the passenger side and start ripping out that rear trailing arm. Okay guys, so we are now over on the passenger side. Like I mentioned, we were gonna start ripping this apart. I'm gonna show you guys kind of what we've done so far. You guys can already kind of sneak peek. A lot of it's already been taken out, but what we need to do is we need to remove the trailing arm also on this side because we need to now fix this trailing arm and kind of clean it all up and get the bushings pushed out on this one too. So if you guys come down here, you can see we have off the rotors, we have off the calipers, pads are off. We've disconnected so far this lower control arm, which is under here. We've disconnected the upper control arm here. We've disconnected the shock and the sway bar end link back here. And then underneath, running basically behind here, it might be hard to see. But basically, back over in here, let's see, yeah, back over here, there is one wires for the ABS, and then two, there are the hard braided lines, or the hard lines here for the brakes. So you gotta disconnect that here. I believe also you gotta disconnect it here. So yeah, I'm gonna have to disconnect this also here. So then basically the brakes are gonna be free. And the next and last part that we're gonna have to do, underneath, right under here, yeah, right under here, there are 4 bolts, and those 4 bolts are what hold on the trailing arm and the bracket. We have to take those 4 bolts out. Once those bolts come out, we should have the bracket free, and then we should be able to technically get this out and go from there. Okay guys, after many hours and all day working on the car, the passenger side trailing arm is now finally out of the car. So let me show you guys what this actually looks like. I kind of gave you guys a little bit of a time lapse so you guys could see me working on it, but I'll explain more right now so you guys can actually see what I did. Okay guys, as you can now tell, the passenger side trailing arm, like I said, is out. So basically, there's nothing in here right now holding up the rear. You can see we basically had to remove the axle out. We had to remove both the upper, or the lower and the upper control arms. We've also had to remove the shock, the sway bar end link. The bags luckily came out. We had also in here some ABS connections. We also have brake connections that go back into this area, which are hard lines that you have to disconnect. And then underneath this panel here, there are 4 bolts basically, and the 4 bolts you need to unbolt to basically get the arm out. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to show you guys quickly how that all was set up and how that all kind of looks now that it's all out with the trailing arm. It's definitely a pretty annoying job to do, and now this is going to be the hard part, is actually redoing this trailing arm right over here. So this is the trailing arm right here we removed. You can see here in the back, that's the trailing arm that I got as a replacement for the driver's side. And we're gonna have to go through all of this here and clean all this up. I'm hoping that bolt right there comes out without any issues, because that bolt was a pain to get out on this one. And if that bolt doesn't come out, well, I'm basically gonna have to buy this bracket new for the both the driver and passenger side, which just going to cause more delays, because as you guys can tell, this has already been a lot longer of a process than I've expected it to be. But I hope it's good content and you guys are enjoying the whole rebuild of the suspension, the braking, and now also the rear control arms and trailing arms on the R32. So we're going to end actually this episode here today, guys. If you guys enjoyed this episode, go down below, hit that like button, and also subscribe to the channel. Oh man, it feels good just to sit down. I'd really appreciate it, and it just helps out with the YouTube algorithms and just shows that you guys actually like and, you know, like these kind of videos, because I really like making content for you guys. If you guys like and have any idea or any questions about the press from Harbor Freight, throw them down in the comment sections. I'll answer as many as I can. I'm not an expert using a press, as you could probably tell from my time lapse, but I figured out how to get out the damn bushings, which a lot of people apparently have a hard time getting out those bushings, so I guess I did something right with that. If you guys actually have experience with presses and you have any recommendations for things I should buy to make it easier, put them in the comment section. I'd love to know what are some good accessories to have for the press. But on that note, guys, we're going to end today's episode. I hope you guys liked this rebuild that we have going on, and next time we'll be getting those control arms finished and back in the R. Till next time, guys, my name's Andrew. I'll see you guys later.